Not long ago, I saw a Monogram key fob cut out of wood, and I got the idea to do one out of vinyl. So you'll see that version here on the right. Now this turned out to be pretty thin vinyl, so it's kind of floppy. So I tried another one and put it over another piece of vinyl. This would probably work better out of a heavier vinyl or even leather. Now this is a no-stitch project. I just used Hatch to create this and export my SVG file, and then I cut it on my cutter. So let's see how to make one. So in a new document, I'll go to the Lettering and Monogramming toolbox and click Lettering. And I'm going to use one of the monogramming fonts. I have some fonts from some other companies. So I'm going to choose Circle Monogram. This one is from Wilcom fonts. And I'll select it. And then I'll go to Insert Character. And you can see that we have right, left, and middle. And if you haven't done this before, you might need to figure out where your letters are. So there's the M, and that's the left-hand position. The middle position, which would be your last name, are all uppercase. And the right position, which would be your middle name, is lowercase. And I'll just click OK. And I'll set the size to, let's do 60 millimeters. Now if I cut this out, these are all going to fall apart because they're not connected. So I need to do some connectors. So we'll go to the Digitize toolbox. I'm going to zoom in a bit, press B on the keyboard. And I'm going to choose the Circle Oval tool. And I'll just go here to the center. And I'll drag one out. About like that. Press Enter. And I'm going to change this to an outline. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'll make this one larger than this one. So this one is about 60 millimeters, so we'll make this one 70 millimeters. And that will be my outside if I choose to lay this over another piece. So we'll already have that in there. Select this one, change it to a satin. I'm going to set the width to 3. Now go to the Edit Objects toolbox and choose the Knife tool. And I'm just going to cut around here so that I have the sections for the connectors. Press Enter. Now I need to get rid of the pieces I don't want. So I'll just select them, hit the Delete key. Now we have that. Now I'm going to select all my satin objects, and from the Digitize toolbox, I'll choose Weld. I'll zoom out a bit, hit the minus key a couple times, and now what I want to do is I want to flip this over so I have the back side. So from the Create Layouts toolbox, I'll select all, and I'll do Mirror Copy Vertical, something like that. And now if I'm going to do the cutout version, like the red one that you saw earlier, I'm going to leave this mirrored. But if you're going to put this on top of another layer, you might want to select your monogram and flip it again, because otherwise it's a mirrored version of this one. It'll be backwards when you see it from the other side. So it depends on what you're doing here. I'm going to undo that. Now I need to make the connector piece here. I'll go to the Digitize toolbox, select the rectangle, and make something about like that. And I want it to be 40 millimeters tall. And the other one I made 10 millimeters wide, but I think it needs to be a little bit wider. So let's make it 15 millimeters wide. Oops, I didn't get that unchecked, did I? I want to zoom in, and I want my shapes to be just touching, just overlapping a tiny bit. And now I'm going to zoom all, select all, Control A, and I want to align them to the center. I'll change this one to a fill. Let's duplicate that one too. Change that to an outline. Now I'm going to select all my satin objects and choose Weld. Change that to black. Move it to the top. Then I'll select these. And to weld an object, it has to be a filled object. We can't weld outlines. So I'll just change those to fill. We'll weld those. Change it back to an outline. And now we have all our shapes. So we really don't care about the stitches in here because we are not going to stitch this. Our next step is to go to the Output Design toolbox, Export Cutting. And we're going to Export Scalable Vector Graphics. And I'll just pick a spot. Now I haven't saved this design because I've already saved it before, but you can see what it looks like if we flip over here. And we have two pieces. So if I select my outline and move it over, you can see there's my outline piece and there's my monogram piece. So if I'm just going to do the monogram, I could delete this piece. But if I'm going to cut them separately, I might want to have them saved as separate files. We could do that from Hatch. So if we go back to Hatch, we can say, I just want to export that one. So you'll select it, go to Export Cutting, and choose Export Selected Objects Only. And then it's just going to select this outline. Then you'll send that SVG to your cutter, cut out your file, and glue them together. So I hope you enjoyed this different use of Hatch. We don't always have to use it for embroidery. It is the purpose of Hatch to create embroidery, but because we can export SVG files, we can do more tricks with it than you might think about. Please like and subscribe and make a comment. Thanks for watching.